explanation,
Okay.
but there's been.
Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alrighty, good afternoon, everyone. All right, first item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the July 20th, 2023 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so moved. All right, new business for tonight or this afternoon is P345, an ordinance review. The Planning and Zoning Commission will review the following ordinance: an ordinance amending the Town of Ocean View Code relating to use regulations as set out in Chapter 140, Land Use and Development, prohibiting certain marijuana activities as outlined in the proposed ordinance. All right, so with that said, Keith,
Yes, sir.
Ken, you got anything to add?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. As you mentioned, we're here tonight to review a draft ordinance that was introduced during our regularly scheduled July 11th council meeting with our mayor and council. The ordinance was introduced by Councilman Stephen Cobb. Since that time, the Office of Planning, Zoning, and Development and the function of our duties reviewed the proposed ordinance, and we'd like to offer up a revised ordinance for the Commission's review and possible voting.
Okay.
And for the record, that revised ordinance has been circulated to the councilman.
It's included in the packet.
Like the
Okay.
one we have in front of us? Okay.
Yellow.
I can read the language in a revised ordinance if need be.
I think that, yeah, that's fine.
The revised language, it states the operation of a marijuana cultivation facility, a marijuana product manufacturing facility, a marijuana testing facility, a retail marijuana store, each is defined in Title IV, Section 1302 of the Delaware Code, or a marijuana smoking lounge shall be prohibited within the municipal boundaries of Ocean View.
And just so the commission knows, the only difference really between this ordinance and the one that was proposed by Councilman Cobb was we added reference to Title IV, Section 1302, to clarify that the definition of the various facilities that are delineated in the ordinance language are defined in the Delaware Code, so that our ordinance is tying back to the Delaware Code.
Okay. All right. Any comments from board members here on the ordinance? No?
Yeah, one comment. Ocean View is a small town with 3 churches and elementary school. We don't have a liquor store, we don't have fast food. We're a planned community that is a small town, and this is something that really shouldn't be in a small town. Why do I say that? Marijuana is a gateway drug. There's 3 gateway drugs. It might not lead to addiction to marijuana, but it could lead to addiction to other drugs. The other 2 drugs we know are alcohol and nicotine. Does marijuana affect the cognitive ability and the reaction time for somebody that's using it to drive a vehicle? Yes, it does. How do I know this? Because I spent 10 years as a driving instructor certified in the state of Delaware, and I've had first-hand experience with the effects of marijuana on individuals because I spent 35 years in law enforcement in 2 major cities. You know, unfortunately, Delaware is one of 22 states that recognizes marijuana. Okay, the other 28 don't. Medical marijuana is different. This is this is sales for recreational purposes. That's my opinion on marijuana. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other comments? All right, I guess at this point, we'll open it up to the audience. If there's anyone that wishes to address the commission, please step forward. Please identify yourself, your name and address.
Also brought some research and folders. May I hand these to you?
Sure.
Thank you so much for your time today. Some information
you.
about cannabis as well as cannabis being an active drug and not a gateway, as well as some other information about how education and regulation is the best way to approach cannabis. So first of all, thank you for having me here today, Mayor and Town Council members. My name is Zoe Patchell, and I'm the Executive Director and co-founder of Delaware Cannabis Advocacy Network. I'm also a homeowner and a paralegal in Dover, Delaware. So tonight I ask you to reconsider the ban on legal cannabis businesses within town limits. Prohibiting legal cannabis businesses within town limits will not prevent anyone from consuming cannabis or stop cannabis from being within the town limits. That ship has already sailed when the legislature voted with a 3/5, or actually exceeded a 3/5 supermajority to vote for cannabis legalization in the state of Delaware. According to research, 1 in 5 Delaware adults consume cannabis, and that large demographic need local, safe, affordable access if Delaware wishes to eliminate the illicit market. Banning legal, licensed, regulated cannabis businesses within town limits will make it less safe for both the communities and consumers, and shuts the door to economic, agricultural, and small business development, ensuring that those opportunities remain in the hands of the illicit market, which will thrive in any town that bans legal cannabis businesses within their town limits. Make no mistake, towns that ban these robustly regulated legal businesses will risk illicit market activity in their town instead. History shows dry towns do not work. I encourage everyone to watch the movie Untouchables if you think otherwise. Legal cannabis business will be regulated under one of Delaware's leading law enforcement agencies, the Delaware Department of Safety and Homeland Security, in one of the most tightly regulated and scrutinized industries in the entire state. There are a dozen robust provisions that address things like underage use prevention that legal businesses will need to adhere to with other local ordinances in order to maintain their business licenses. These do not exist on the illicit market. Operational legal cannabis businesses are also associated with a significant crime reduction in the surrounding areas due to increased security and surveillance measures for those businesses, and I provided that research in your folders. Additionally, a recent Rutgers University study showed that operational legal cannabis businesses are associated with a 1.6% average home sale price increase in municipalities that allowed cannabis-related businesses compared to municipalities that did not allow these businesses. Legal cannabis businesses will create a variety of well-paying employment opportunities in a host of fields for local residents within town limits, which will decrease unemployment and stimulate the local economy. Lastly, towns that permit legal cannabis businesses will generate business licensing fees as well as property taxes for local municipalities, and directly financially benefit from these legal businesses. Towns that prohibit legal businesses send that revenue stream out of town or back to the illicit market. Therefore, the real question before you tonight is, who do you believe should control this profitable cash crop and the existing market? The dangerous illicit market, which creates crime and violence just like it did during alcohol prohibition, or law-abiding, licensed small business owners who must adhere to local laws and ordinances in order to maintain their business license and investments. The knee-jerk decision of banning legal, stringently regulated businesses from operating within town limits will create future consequences that will have negative effect on the long-term financial health of municipalities that ban these businesses. Please remember the hard lessons of prohibition that have been etched in history books and reconsider your ban on state legal and regulated businesses within town limits. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Thank you so much.
May I make a comment on that?
Sure.
Thank you. First and foremost, thank you. It was an excellent presentation, and I will make sure I take a lot of time and go through your statistics here. However, this and the crux of your entire speech was based upon the fact that if we don't roll over and ignore things, then they'll just get worse. Well, this has been the safest town in this state for about 4 years now. There's no doubt in my mind it will stay that way, unless we allow somebody in here to start running these types of places. As for the fact that it passed in Dover, I'm well aware of that. You know, I was mayor here for 6 years, and I had to deal with the various regulatories. And quite frankly, as far as I'm concerned, the only thing smart about the bill they passed was they still lived up to Delaware law and giving towns a choice as to the decision as what to come in or not come into their towns. Dover, in their infinite lack of wisdom to trying to spend excessively, are always looking to raise taxes. And you're talking to a guy here who raised taxes 50% in this town, so I know what it means to do something that's not nice to people who live here, but necessary. So from my personal perspective, none of this for the purpose of raising taxes for the citizens of Delaware is necessary. It was a gross dereliction of their duty from my personal perspective. Having said that though, your presentation was very professional and I do appreciate that.
All right, thank you, Walter. All right, would you like to address?
Of course I
Okay.
will, yes. Thank you for
Please.
having me. My name is Alexandra Miller. I'm a local resident. I actually live right here on West Avenue, right across 26. So pretty local. It took me less than a minute to get here. Not only that, I'm also a small business owner. I own Alney Body Care, which is a handmade vegan bath and body care company. Sell to many local shops on my website, and I do many of the local farmers markets. I'm also a member of the Bethany Fenwick Chamber. I'm also one of the ambassadors on that chamber. So I'm looking to grow the community and grow the business. Personally, I consume cannabis. I'm going to use that term because marijuana actually has a long racial and derogatory history. Medical cannabis, I use cannabis to treat endometriosis, PTSD, as well as an eating disorder. And cannabis is medicinal whether you purchase it recreationally or in a medical shop. It's just a term of where the tax money is going. So I'm here today to urge you to say no to the Ocean View ban on retail cannabis sales here. There's a couple of main points that I would like to make. Community and public schools would directly benefit from this tax revenue. Now, this is not tax revenue that's going to be added on to local citizens. This is sales tax revenue from people purchasing this legally in a licensed shop. So nobody's taxes are going to go up because of this. I used to live in Colorado where I worked in the legal industry out there, both in the manufacturing and in the retail side. The money there directly benefits public school funds, which go to anti-bullying, early literacy, physical education programs, as well as mental health and behavioral education programs. So if you care about children, you'll definitely want to say no to this ban because they'll be losing out on a lot of funds and resources. A second point I would like to make is about job creation. So this would create new year-round jobs and careers, not just jobs, careers. These are year-round. Many people are stuck in the loop of seasonal jobs, working their butts off in restaurants and bars, long hours, late nights. When that's alcohol, a lot of dangerous stuff happens in those bars. I used to work at one in Ocean City. So this is also going to be creating ancillary businesses tied to cannabis. So these are businesses that directly benefit from cannabis, but they're not touching the product. Packaging, ad sales, marketing, that kind of a thing. Also, these businesses would create, their employees would patronize our local businesses, cafes, shops, that kind of a thing. So it would generate a lot of new business there. The third point that I want to make, and this is probably something that you're most concerned about, maybe not as aware of or, used to, because you haven't lived in Colorado where it's been done successfully and securely. So cannabis retail shops are infinitely more secure than liquor shops. Every single piece of crumb, every single product has to be locked up at the end of the night. All bottles and liquor are just left out. There's cameras and security. You cannot consume nor even open the packaging on the premises. And it's extremely more strict. Compliance is extremely more strict. You're not gonna have people walking around just blowing clouds of smoke everywhere, just like you don't have people walking around with open containers everywhere. There's laws and there's rules and regulations of where people can consume this legally purchased product. So I think there's a lot of misconceptions about that. I don't need to go into the whole spiel about how cannabis is much safer because I believe my friend Zoe had passed out a lot of information. Those are just three main points that I wanted to highlight as a resident and business owner, and I hope that you'll strongly consider. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Alrighty. All right, any questions or comments?
Close the public.
All right, well, we'll close the public portion of the meeting. And I guess at this point, are there any other comments or?
Not for me.
Ken, you got something?
I have a question, so right now, to my knowledge, is our town code would allow for an alcohol store, alcohol sales in Ocean View, is that correct?
I don't.
It is
I know we don't have any.
It is not a permitted use.
Huh?
It is not a permitted use.
Oh, okay, because I was curious about that. I thought for some reason that it was, and we just didn't have a store, because I
It's not
look
an
at that in a similar way.
No, it's not an outright permitted use. It
Okay.
requires a special exception.
Okay. All right, would someone like?
Okay, it's proposed motion for the planning commission. I'm in agreement with ordinance amendment proposed by planning department to clarify the ordinance meaning. I move to recommend that the council adopt an ordinance amending the town of Ocean View code relating to use regulations as set out in chapter 140, land use and development code, to amend section 140-27 by adding thereto those matters underlined and deleted thereto in section 140-27 to read as follows. 140-27, strike the word reserved. Add the language as follows: the operation of a marijuana cultivation facility, a marijuana product manufacturing facility, a marijuana testing facility, a retail marijuana store, each is defined in Title IV, Section 1302 of the Delaware Code, or a marijuana smoking lounge shall be prohibited within the municipal boundaries of Ocean View.
I'll second that motion.
All righty, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the ordinance passes 5-0. And with that, I guess did you
Yes.
have?
So essentially, we don't have the power to adopt the ordinance, but we're
recommending
recommending to
it
the
to
council
town
that they do
council
adopt it.
For their vote.
So this matter will come up 2 more times before the council of Ocean View. Okay.
All righty, well, with that said, I don't think we have any other business on the agenda, so
Move we adjourn.
do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.